right. Good morning, everybody. All right, so I am going to break down the first lesson in the energy of miracles so that everybody can know exactly what this is all about here and use it for helping themselves with lots of things: faith, doubt, belief, disbelief, most importantly, power, commanding, and then also understanding inner child. All right, so here's what I'm going to talk about: the context of the story, what happens, what's performed, what happens afterwards, and how you apply this yourself and how to actually practice this lesson. All right, here we go. All right, so in the energy of miracles, we're starting in the book, the Four Gospels. This is the first one, which is in, oh my God, I guess this is Luke, I think it's Luke chapter 9. This is the story. I'm going to give you the context of the story, read the story, and then tell you what to do, how to do this lesson. All right. So this lesson starts where Jesus comes down after the transfiguration. If you're familiar with that, I'm not going to talk all about that one because we're going to start down here when he gets back down off of the mountain where he had gone up into some high mountain and got transfigured. So here he was full of lots of power. And when he comes down to the mount, comes down. So here it is in chapter 9, verse 14. He comes to the disciples down out of the mountain, and he sees a great multitude about them, the scribes questioning with them, and straightway all the people, when they beheld him, were greatly amazed, and running to him, saluted him. So when they say salute, they weren't saluting like a soldier salutes. Salute means they were greeting him, saying hello, saying, giving him, like when and you know what this means, when you see somebody and telling them, you know, that telling them, hello, we love you, yay, here you are, Jesus, we think you're cool, we think you're wonderful, all that. Then he sees the scribes. So here it says, and he asked the scribes, what question ye with them? And one of the multitude answered and said, Master, I have brought unto thee my son, which have a dumb spirit. And wherever he taketh him, he teareth him, and he foameth, and gnasheth with his teeth, and pineth away. And I spake to thy disciples that they should cast him out, and they could not. And he answered him and said, O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him unto me. I'm going to interrupt to just point out a couple things. First of all, I want you to understand. Now, here's the first instruction when reading these. I want you to picture in your mind. The scene as it has happened. You are to picture that you are there. And here's where you're going to want some flexibility as to using your mind, using your imagination, so that you can get the most out of what's going on as you are dealing with, as you are reading, receiving, interacting. Maybe that's the best word, interacting with this lesson. Because you want to have it in your mind that Jesus just came down from the mountain where he was transfigured. He sees the people, and the scribes are questioning his disciples that didn't go up there with him. and he sees that, and he says, what are you questioning? And then there's one man there who says, I've brought to you my son. So you want to be understanding. You can imagine yourself as Jesus, but you can also imagine yourself as the man, and you have to imagine the son. So when you want to look at all of these and you want to understand, like, okay, because there's different angles that I want you to be able to see about this situation. Because when he says things, I don't want you to think the old stuff that you might have used to thought. For example, when he says he has a dumb spirit, understand that back then they were talking about dumb, meaning they used the meaning. We may be having other things to say politically correctly today in 2023, and that's fine. But for here, let's just use some literal things, because it isn't even the literal words necessarily that we're going to stop at. We're going to see what happens behind the words. What um, power are you going to be pulling forth for your own understanding, for your own self to understand you have it, from being able to read the words and use your imagination to tie into the idea. This is what you're doing here. You are going to experience, like Neville Goddard says, experience the scripture. So, um, dumb meaning that the person couldn't speak, and it says, and wherever, and then also there was other stuff about this spirit, because it did some things inside this person. So, you know, wherever it taketh him, it teareth him. Now, oh yeah, and he foameth and gnashes with his teeth. So you know that there are some conditions that you've heard of probably, where people have this and pineth away. All right, so um, you can also use this for your own self in times when you have had something that tore you, when it caused you so much in pain that you felt as though you were foaming and gnashing with your own teeth, like you just were in pain. Someone, maybe, you felt like somebody hurt your feelings, or somebody passed away, or it could be you broke up with someone. You could be feeling like a whole series of things have happened, which is the reason why you feel as poorly as you do. Could be, health. It could be you're feeling hopeless because of money. It could be lots of things, conditions in your life, the way you feel so bad. So when these feelings that had this child, I want you to relate to those as though you understand that this is something that is really, really hard. And it says, and I spake to the disciples for them to cast them out, and they could not. And he answered them and saith, O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Now, don't take those words and have it so that you think that Jesus means any of that. No, let's not bring that energy in, because when he says how long shall I suffer you, he actually is meaning teaching. Suffering is, from what I've been reading, he suffers a whole bunch of times. The word suffers used many times. He's like, and that's when he's telling, suffer you not to speak. How long shall I suffer you? Teach you, tell you, speak at you. So it's that kind of suffering. Bring him unto me. And they brought him unto him. And when he saw him, straightway the spirit tear him, and he fell on the ground and wallowed, foaming. And he said to the father, how long how long is it ago since this came unto him? And he said, of a child. This is another way that you can see this. as your inner child. So you can have different ways to interpret this. Whatever's the first one that comes up, great, and be open that as you process this for your daily. Um, so this is a practice. It's a daily practice. The first workshop we gave was 30 days. I've done it for um, 2 years, and I got different interpretations at different times along that journey. So I didn't realize it had anything to do with my inner child until in the second year. All right, and it said of a child, and oftentimes it hath cast him into the fire and into the waters to destroy him. But if thou canst do anything, have compassion on us and help him. So here's another part. When this person is asking for help, this man loves his son so much, and he says, help us. He doesn't even say, help my son. He is that loving and close to his son that he says, help us, have compassion on us. And I want you to understand and have compassion in your own heart, open up to feel an empathy in your heart, to feel what it must be like to have someone you love, which I'm sure you do, need help, and you just want it so bad that you go to a healer. You go to who you believe because of other people have told you, and you're asking, have compassion on us and help us. And you've probably done this before, and I want you to do it again. I want you to do it again because you're going to ask God to help you. So Jesus says back, Jesus says unto him, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. And I want you at this point to take this statement, because this is where we really start. But in this, when I'm giving this video, I'm letting you. I want you to say this about 3 times at least. Jesus said unto him, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. And I want you to say this. Jesus said unto me, put your name there. Jesus said unto me, Tarja, if thou, Tarja, canst believe, all things are possible to you, Tarja, who believeth. And say it again. Jesus said unto me, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to you who believeth. Because that in itself is a lesson for your whole life. Because if you want to understand who you are in this universe, in your relationship with God, or whatever you call who created you, you're going to have to understand that it has something to do with what you believe, because your beliefs manifest it, and you will learn that as you continue in your life, whether it is with these teachings or any other teachings. They all point to the same thing. And when you are opening yourself up to understand that this is the truth that you need to confront yourself with, whether or not you get it, that all things are possible, if you can believe, that's when you're going to have something change in yourself where you understand what to do and how to do it. All right. Here's the next line is also very important. And straightway the father of the child cried out and said with tears, Lord, I believe. Help thou mine unbelief. Here's what I'm asking you to do at this line, with this line. I want you to close your eyes, go inside yourself, talk to God and say, Lord, I believe. Help thou mine unbelief. And ask God to take away your unbelief. Take away, this is what I say, and you're going to have a version of this. Help thou mine, I'm going to take away my unbelief, take away my fears, take away my doubts, take away anything in me that is stopping me from believing so that I can have what I want and desire in this world. Take away everything, whether it's fear, any version of fear, doubt, misunderstanding, anything unbelieving. And when you do that every day for your at least 30 days, you're going to see a change. All right, what happens next? So all these stories have a purpose. And straightway the father of, I already said that. Straightway the father of the child cried out. Okay, here we go. Next. When Jesus saw that the people came running together, I don't know what the people came running together actually means. I've been wondering that. I bet God is going to tell me, but I'm not sure. He rebuked the foul spirit, saying unto him, Thou, dumb and deaf spirit, I charge thee, come out of him and enter no more into him. Now, this is where you're going to do a little acting. I want you to, in this scene, be Jesus speaking to the dumb and deaf spirit in the kid. And I want you to say these words out loud. All this you should be reading out loud anyway, because reading it out loud activates your it activates all your gates, your ear gate, your mouth gate, and in your imagination it makes a big difference whether you're reading it by just not reading out loud or not. So you want to imagine that child on the ground, and you're going to imagine yourself commanding the spirit to come out. So you're going to say, Thou, dumb and deaf spirit, I charge thee, come out of him and enter no more into him. You say that out loud. You say that out loud for 30 days, and you're going to see some transformation inside of yourself as to understanding that you have this power to do the same thing. And what happens next is also important. And the spirit cried and rent him sore and came out of him. So you have to imagine this scene, because what has happened is that the spirit has been commanded to come out of the child. So the spirit responds and cries and rent him sore, gives a little bit of a fight, but has to come out, has to surrender to the power of the spoken word that Jesus has said, that you have said. Spirit cried and rent him sore and came out of him, and he was as one dead, insomuch that many said, He is dead. They were all standing there looking, but Jesus took him by the hand, and you imagine yourself, you've commanded that spirit to come out. You reach over, you take him by the hand, stand him up, lifted him up, and he arose. And you could just imagine yourself being there. What the people are looking, they are like, oh my God, look, wow, what happened? They are like, amazed. And you have to imagine the faces of the people, the son, the father, the father with the son hugging him. Just imagine this whole scene and do this every day as your daily practice. This is going to really help you. And when he was coming to the house, his disciples asked him privately, "Why could not we cast him out?" So the disciples were um, not built quite up yet to this degree of power, because he says, "And he said unto them, This kind can come forth by nothing but by prayer and fasting." So prayer and fasting. I have found that I had just come off of a 30-day fast where I was eating only fruits, and my power increased a lot. Wow, look at this outside. Look at these birds. I don't know if you can see. Anyway, it's just beautiful too. Anyway, back to this lesson. So prayer and fasting. So this is telling you that if you are in a bind, a jam, or whatever, that you can build yourself up with prayer and fasting. That is the lesson. The lesson is all things are possible to him that believeth. And if you're not believing, ask. Or if you are believing and you know you want to increase your belief, ask that your belief be increased. Ask for anything that's in the way of you believing to be removed. When you have a problem or an issue, you're going to command that the problem be removed and never return. And you're going to know that it's going to obey you. It's going to have to happen. And that if you're not seeing the results that you know that you should be seeing, that are possible, then you're going to have to strengthen your ability, your power with prayer and fasting. So keep working on it, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson.